I'm Tim, welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Breitling Navitimer B01 manufacturer caliber in rose gold. You can see and you can purchase this extraordinary upscale pilot's watch on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images, and naturally complete pricing details for this Breitling Navitimer with manufacturer movement. Now perhaps the most striking feature of this watch is that it doesn't just have the typical 1950s and 60s link of every other Navitimer, namely that it's largely a conceptual continuation of that great mid-century pilot's watch pioneer. But this one, in full rose gold, harks back to a day when a commercial airline pilot was an elite profession, a professional often viewed on par, and rightly so, with doctors and lawyers. There used to be a status and a station to being an airline pilot that, quite frankly, a lot of modern-day aviators jammed into crazy hours, poorly maintained aircraft, and non-union negotiations simply can't relate to. These days, the pilot isn't necessarily the top gun. But the bottom line is that this watch recalls that era. 43 millimeters across the round of the case, not including crown, not including pushers. The watch is grander in size than its historical forebears, but not so much so that it spoils the charm of the watch, the vintage flair. In terms of thickness, it's one of the thinnest Breitlings you can buy at 14.5 millimeters, and from lug to lug, this one is 49 millimeters, so really quite compact. You could wear this watch securely and with a good sense of visual proportion on a wrist down to as small as, I would say, 14.5 centimeters in circumference. Now, while the watch is reasonably sized, it's also quite substantial. On a timepiece like this, to be perfectly frank, you don't necessarily want to see the movement. An automatic caliber, even an in-house one, often isn't much to see, especially when it's mechanically finished like this watch. I would much rather have 2 ounces of solid gold caseback, especially when it's a handsome one like this, featuring a conversion scale and embossed Breitling wing and logo. Now, of course, the watch features a gorgeous color palette, all in high polish. On this watch, it seems appropriate. Yes, it's polished, but this isn't big bling. This isn't Breitling for Bentley. This is something entirely different. This is gloss with sophistication, not simply brash attitude. Now, you'll also note that the watch is effectively all dial and bezel, and that's true to the watch's heritage. In 1954, the very first Navitimers had the same look. Maximize the dial, even flare it out over the case flank. You can see how far out the bezel cantilevers to expand that circular slide rule. Now, it is silver, it's red, it's black, and it's beautifully cued to the rose gold, black, silver, and red color palette of the dial center, but it's also highly functional, and after you get used to it, and the watch does come with a practice slide rule and a larger scale to help you get the method down, you can quickly outpace your friends in their iPhones when calculating tips at dinner, for instance. It's very quick as a tool for multiplication and division, and again, it becomes second nature once you get used to it. Now, you can also see that the dial has an upscale set of applied rose gold Arabic numerals. True to history, it's also a bit finer than those old printed and painted dials. There's a little bit of lume, not a lot, but just enough to remind you this is a sports watch with small pips outboard of the 4 corner numerals, with the exception of 12, and loomed but narrow strips on the hour and minute hand at center. Now, the chronograph is a Breitling signature, and in this case, the chronograph is of the in-house variety. This is the B01 caliber, originally introduced in 2009 on the Chronometer series. It is Breitling's first modern in-house caliber. It has a 70-hour power reserve. Underneath this caseback, it is automatic winding. It features both a column wheel and a vertical clutch for refined operation. The column wheel gives you that crisp snap that you feel and hear through the pusher, and the vertical clutch means it starts without jump, stops without stagger, and always resets precisely to the index at 12. There's no gear play to create an off-center index. The other nice thing about this watch is that it features all of the cardinal refinements for which Breitling is known. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It does feature hacking seconds, pull the crown, stop the balance, halt the constant seconds hand, and synchronize to a reference time, or your mission timer if you are a pilot. There is a quick set for the date, and it's wonderfully discreet at 4:30 with a small aperture and a monotone black date disc, there when you want it, invisible when you don't. And of course, there's this gorgeous reverse panda combination of silver and black center dial that is quite becoming. Again, this is a watch that's equally at home in the cockpit or at the opera. This is a fine throwback, not just to mid-century practicality, to the day when a sports watch could also be a professional article, but it also is a throwback to a day when the pilot profession was something altogether grander, back when people idolized airline pilots and even went to dinner in their best clothes at the airport restaurant, so prestigious was it. You can relive those days every day with this Breitling Navitimer B01 on our website.